Hi, I'm Pastor Mark, and as we meet together briefly here today, I want you to do something for me. I want you in your mind to picture a saltwater fish, but not just any saltwater fish. Picture a saltwater fish in the ocean amidst the school of his fellow fish mates. And take a look in your mind at what that fish looks like. You got it? That fish is joyful. That fish is fulfilled. That fish is living a good life. But now I want you to picture that fish. If we take it out of the ocean and we just throw it on the ground in our backyard, and maybe every once in a while we come by and we dump a bucket of water on that fish, and we take a salt shaker and we just shake some salt on that fish, is that fish going to be thriving the way it was when it was in the ocean amidst its school of fish? No, it's not, because it's going to be taken out of the environment where it grows and where it thrives. You know what? I want you to understand that that's what we are like when we, as people of faith, are out there trying to do life for Jesus, and yet we ignore the fellowship. We don't spend a lot of time with other believers. We're like that fish who's just taken out of the ocean, away from the school of fish, and is just gasping for breath, just trying to keep living in his suffering. You know, you were never meant to do your life alone. God has given us the fellowship of other believers to help us with that. And so many people nowadays say, I don't need the fellowship of other believers. But the truth is, if you try to do church without being close to the other believers in Jesus Christ, without being connected and devoted to them, you're going to be like that fish that's taken out of the ocean. It's just struggling to live. You know, we are told in the Bible we must continue to meet together as believers, not just in large groups, but in small groups. You know, I turn to the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 24 through 26, 3 verses. And at the center of those verses, the writer tells us, do not give up on meeting together. It says, don't forget to meet together. And he tells us why within those 3 verses. Verse 24 says, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love. You see, before the writer even says, don't give up on meeting together, he tells us why. We're there to spur one another on toward love. Am I the only one out there? I don't think so. Who has trouble sometimes connecting to God's love, finding where it is, what does it mean? Am I the only one out there who has difficult people in my life who are just difficult to love? No, I'm not the only one. And we know God has created us to love him and to love other people. So sometimes we need help from other people who know us well to spur us on toward loving God and loving others and finding that love of God in our life. And then the author goes on to write in verse 25, let us not give up meeting together, but let us encourage one another. See, we get encouragement from spending time, personal time, with other believers in Jesus Christ. You know, the world gets you down. You don't know why you need to go on or how you can go on. You need someone to pick you up and go with you. You know, you don't have that as a believer in Jesus Christ when you're trying to live God's life alone if you're not plugged into the devotion of the fellowship with other believers. You need to be connected with them in a way, in an intimate way. And then the final reason comes in verse 26. After the author gets done saying, don't forget to meet together, he says, if we deliberately keep on sinning, the knowledge of truth, no sacrifice for sins is left. See, it's put side by side. It says, don't keep on sinning. Right after it says, don't give up on meeting together. The implication seems to be that there is some accountability within the fellowship to keep us from going out and doing those harmful things, those things that take us away from God's perfect plan for our life, those things that are outside of God's plan for our life, that hold us back, that keep us down. The fellowship is there to hold us accountable, to keep us out of those, so that we can find that hope in God and live in it. I want to encourage you today to get plugged in to a local fellowship somehow, a small group or something like that within a local body of believers, so that you're not out there like that dying fish living life on your own, but you're out there finding God's love. You're being encouraged by people, and you are being held accountable against those things that will hold you back. Won't you do it today? More information on that at www.eastbradybaptist.com. Thank you.